I just want to welcome you all to the Birth to 3 Early Start Bright Future celebration. We are so excited to be here, and if some of you know me, most of you know me, but I am Emily Ontiveros. I work for the Milwaukee County Birth to 3 program as a liaison for one of our agencies, and I'm just so glad that we're here to be able to celebrate all of our accomplishments that we did this year with the help of many of you here, and having this celebration and recognition to a lot of you that have helped us so much to be able to accomplish everything that we did in the past 18 months. So as you know, Birth to 3 did receive a Child Family Pandemic Recovery Grant, and with that we were able to provide a lot of events. We were very, very busy these last 18 months, and we are so excited to share those accomplishments with you all, share the photos, share the experiences. So today we're going to hear a little bit about what Birth to 3 was able to do in the last 18 months. We're going to hear from two of our partnering agencies too, here, Wisconsin and Vision Forward, that are going to come and share their experience and what they were able to accomplish with the grant. And then finally, we are so excited to have some of our families that received Birth to 3 services or received Birth to 3 services here to share their experience, and we want to actually recognize them and all of the participation that you gave us and just being there for the Birth to 3 program. So again, welcome everyone. We are so happy to have you, and we're going to go ahead and start with Samantha. She will go ahead and talk about what Birth to 3 has been able to do these last 18 months.
Hi everyone, I am Samantha, and for those who don't know, I am the Birth to 3 program supervisor here for the Birth to 3 program. And just like Emily said, I just want to thank everybody again for coming and celebrating with us and just taking time out of your workday to just interact and enjoy the yummy food that we have for you today. As many experience, the Birth to 3 program came to a halt when the global pandemic began. The pandemic shed light on many of the inequality of services and a lot of the hardships that families were experiencing, including loss and hardships. As restrictions were being lifted, we were able to experience an increase in our referrals. Even though we were, getting those referrals, we were aware that we weren't providing access to early intervention services to everyone here in Milwaukee County. And so early in 2022, we did have the opportunity to apply for the Child and Family Pandemic Recovery Grant, and that was supported by the Wisconsin Department of Health Services. And really we wanted to, and luckily that's why we're here, we did receive those funds, and our goal with that was really just to increase accessibility, inclusivity, and access to developmental screening, early intervention services, while we're promoting social connectedness and parental confidence. So today I'm going to be sharing a couple highlights and lessons learned of all the projects that we did. And thank you again for everybody, for all the work that you did if you partner with us throughout this grant. So first, I want to talk about our first goal, which was to really focus on increasing our accessibility and inclusivity of the program. So we wanted to increase our referrals by 10%. So in partnership with Promote Local, and so again, thanks Promote Local for all the work that you've done with us, we launched the Early Start Bright Future campaign. And that really focused on benefiting and recognizing infants and toddlers with developmental delays. Part of that campaign, we launched a social media toolkit, and that toolkit was made available to 14 different organizations. We hosted our first ever celebration at the Milwaukee County Zoo, which was so exciting, our first ever event for families, where we had over 390 people attend, and 17 vendors and exhibitors. So thank you again if you did attend the zoo event with us. We certainly mostly had fun with everyone who was able to attend. We also learned from our parents that they want opportunities to interact with other families, with other children in the program. And so that resulted in us hosting our first ever Friday Fun in the Park events. And these events we hosted across different Milwaukee County area parks. We had yummy paletas from Paleteria Yayo, so thank you for providing those paletas to us. And we enjoyed meeting families out in the community. We had the most fun We had the Betty Bryn Museum come out with their Wonder Wagon. We had Holly from Cultivate Yoga come and do some yoga with the kids. And lastly, Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley declared April 1st through the 7th of 2023 to be Early Start Bright Future Week. And we're still working on increasing our referrals numbers this year. However, we're looking forward to continuing the efforts that we just started in building a Birth to 3 community. Our second goal was to provide access to developmental screening. And by that, we wanted to provide access in a different way. We know a lot of people are online, and so we wanted to provide screenings by implementing the ASQ Online. And the ASQ Online is a platform where families can complete the developmental screening at any time, as many times as they want. Unfortunately, due to some technical difficulties, it does take quite a long time to launch something online. We weren't unable to launch that until June 1st of 2023. But we did, with only 4 months of it being live, we were able to complete 45 screenings. And so with the help and support with you all, this platform is going to continue throughout the next year. So we hope we can get over 100 screenings by March of 2024. Our third goal, we partnered with the Parenting Network. So a huge shout out to the Parenting Network. We were able to accomplish our goal where we were able to provide caregivers with parenting classes or just parenting opportunities to foster social connections and build parenting confidence. And that focused with child-focused activities and parent partners. We hosted 6 PPP in-person workshops that focused on developing good bedtime routines, hassle-free meal times, changing problem into behavior into positive behavior, where we had over 36 people attend. We had another opportunity where we launched our first ever Thursdays Together, which used the families and schools together evidence-based practice model. And that program focuses on supporting child well-being and learning readiness and really empowers parents. We hosted this group 2 times in 2023, where we had a total of 14 families registered and attend. A huge shout out to the staff who volunteered to run the FAST program. We all left with so much sweat, but I think it was worth just having our parents the opportunity to just have an open and safe space for their children to come and play. And lastly, we partnered with Vision Forward Association in here, Wisconsin. We wanted to, the goal for them was really to enhance early intervention vision and hearing services by providing community education, awareness, and expert vision and hearing services. I won't talk about what they did. We're going to have them come up and talk about a little bit about their work, but just wanted to make sure that we also give them the thanks and opportunity for continued partnership. So overall, this grant allowed us to reach families where they're at, grow our professional partnership, and offer social opportunities for families and more. And although we're still working on meeting some of the goals, we accomplished the ultimate goal, building a Birth to 3 community of parents and partners. A huge thank you to the organizations who helped lead the work, Promote Local, the Parenting Network, Here Wisconsin, and Vision Forward. I'm going to pass it back to Emily, who's going to share more information next.
Thank you, Samantha. Isn't it great to hear about everything that we were able to do, right? 18 months fly by, but man, was it busy, and it was a lot of fun. So next we're going to hear about the work that Here Wisconsin was able to complete with this grant. Working in partnership with other organizations is essential to support the children with Milwaukee County. So we're going to hear from Here Wisconsin next. And I believe it's... And I'll let you introduce yourself.
Yep. Thank you. All right, good afternoon, everyone. Hi, thanks for inviting us here, and a big thank you to Milwaukee County Birth to 3 for involving us in this very important work that they were doing. I'm here today to represent Here Wisconsin. We are a nonprofit that will soon be celebrating 100 years in 2026. So, yeah, thank you. We've got a lot of really dedicated people and professionals that are very passionate about the work we do, and so look for us if you ever have any hearing related needs. All right, so today I'm here to talk just a little bit, just give you an overview of the project that we were able to partner with Milwaukee County and provide. One of the things that I don't have any slides other than this, but we called it our 0 to 3 Connect program, because one of the things that was recognized, and Milwaukee County stepped up and said, you know, we need to do something about that, is that during the pandemic, we knew that over half of the babies born and identified with hearing loss in Milwaukee County were not accessing any kinds of services and were at extreme high risk for loss to follow up. When we first started the project at the end of 2021, we knew that it was as high as 60% of babies born in Milwaukee County that had identified hearing loss were just kind of hanging out, and the parents were not able to access support. We also know that this was impacting all families, but especially families that were experiencing disparities in access and were having some challenges in identifying what services may be helpful to them. So that was really some of our targets to the beginning of our work. So when we first started with our 0 to 3 project, we had essentially 4 to 5 goals, and those goals involved locating and connecting with families, providing information assistance to critical services, social services, services that would help in their day-to-day lives, as well as access to early intervention services. And then enroll and facilitate participation in those early intervention services or other services that may benefit their child developmentally and the family. And then community outreach. So I'm going to talk to you just a little bit about each one of those. Like I said, when we first started, we knew that there was a high percentage of families out there that were not connected to specialists or receiving any support for their children that had a known diagnosis and were at high risk for developmental delay. We employed a troupe of professionals. We hired a service coordinator, case manager specifically for this project, and that was not the only duty of that position, but a big part of it. And we literally went out and knocked on doors, made phone calls, sent letters, and found a good number of these families. We were actually able to find almost 70% of those families that had otherwise been just kind of floating out there, as we would say. So we were very excited about that. Once we connected with families, we helped them access services, told them about information. We employed what we termed an enhanced case management approach to these families. We are very well versed in our work in dealing with families of young children who have hearing loss. They have very specific needs, and there are very specific information that they need to have right from the start to ensure long-term positive outcomes for their children. So we were able to share with them what they needed. We also gave them access to critical social services and resources such as CLTS. Many of our families were experiencing some instability in food, some instability in their housing, and instability in job, employment, that kind of thing. So we were able to also work very closely with Milwaukee County and employ resources and avenues to get those individuals connected as needed. One of the things that we recognized is that we had a very high number of families that even after we made an initial contact were at high risk for follow-up. We kind of did a little internal look at that and found that over 50% of families initially declined information services because they just didn't understand. We adjusted our approach, adjusted the things that we were able to offer them, and that 50% went down to 22%. So we are still continuing on that. We still have lingering effects of the pandemic and health issues and that type of thing, but we are definitely working towards that. We have been able to enroll families into successful participation in early intervention services. Here, Wisconsin is lucky in that we partner with the Birth to 3 intervention agencies in Milwaukee County. So all of our families are able to access Milwaukee County Birth to 3 programming and hearing loss specific intervention, which makes all the difference for these families. We have now engaged, like I said, over 65, almost 70% of those families are in services, and the other families that are not, we have employed a monitoring tracking system where we are keeping in contact with those families and just doing checkpoints to make sure that they have what they need, check in on what may have changed in their lives, in their situations, and really encourage them to access those critical services should they choose. The last thing that we have done is we've done a lot of community outreach and awareness. We have visited over 100 daycares, Head Start programs, that kind of thing, just sharing information about hearing loss and letting the caretakers and adults that may come in contact with young children and their families, especially children that may have hearing loss, about what to do should they suspect hearing loss. We also know there's a high percentage of the population that will incur hearing later on, late onset delayed hearing loss, and just because you're not born with a hearing loss does not necessarily inoculate you from acquiring a hearing loss. So we did a lot of really great work, a lot of visits. We passed out over 1,100 paper screens to individuals, parents, families, child care personnel, and that hopefully will really help. One of the things too that we were able to provide through this grant is we were able to provide these daycares, Head Starts, with some materials regarding hearing loss, children's books about hearing issues, hearing loss, that type of thing. And we were able to provide all of the families that we came into contact with into services that we knew had children with identified hearing loss. We were able to offer them what we term language learning play kits that are full of books, toys, and things that they can do to facilitate not only auditory development, but language development in both the spoken language and visual language domains. So that is something that all families really, really appreciated. We were appreciative and continue to be appreciative of Milwaukee County's assistance with that. So the next steps is just to continue this work. We are really excited about some of the progress that we've made, the things that we've learned in helping families to access services, and we just look forward to our continued partnership with Milwaukee County and all the professionals that do the good work within it. So thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Next, we will hear from Colleen with Vision Forward to hear what they were able to do with this grant. So it's Tracy and Colleen, right? Yeah, so Tracy and Colleen.
Hi, everybody. I think I've seen many of you this past year or 18 months. All right, raise your hand if you saw the functional vision screening tool come across your desk or your computer at some point this year. Oh, it should be more than this. Okay, they're slowly going up. I'm Colleen Kickbush. I'm a teacher of the visually impaired for birth to 3, and I go out from Vision Forward with all of your agencies, and I appreciate the partnership. And Amy, you're a tough act to follow. I would say all of the things that Amy said, but we are working with kids who have vision concerns and being able to help identify and get them services that they need because of their potential developmental delays due to visual impairment. And part of our purpose of our project was just to educate and create awareness in our community about all of the areas of development, but particularly vision development. A lot of people don't even know that vision develops as children are born and grow. And so that can have an impact on all of their other areas of development. And some of the screening practices that are used are not as well developed as the hearing screenings because vision is developmental. So it's a little bit trickier to do screening at birth. And so those were some of the things that we targeted, and thanks to Milwaukee County and this project, we were able to work on that and also work on not only improving that early identification, but also getting the children the services that they need, and also be able to support the providers who are working with children who are blind and visually impaired, because it could very well be impacting their motor skills or their other areas of development that the therapists are working with.
So I am Tracy Stanislawski. I'm the Early Education Manager at Vision Forward, and I probably see most of you via email. So I have been at Vision Forward for over 10 years now, and I wanted to talk a little bit about our agency in general. And like hearing Vision, we serve adults as well as children, but I really want to specifically focus on our Birth to 3 project. We were able to, with this project, hire, it's actually the slide prior to that, please, yep, hire a family advocate. So she was able to go out and reach hundreds of daycares. She reached out to, first starting off with the bigger daycares, and then we went into smaller in-home daycares. And I wanted to tell you a story because I think this was just so impactful for her. She reached out to one of the in-home family daycares who probably had maybe 3 children in her care, and she said, let's come over. So then the woman called her back and said, you know what, I have some other family members who wants to come over, and I want to hear about this that you have to tell me. And so it ended up being a big party. So she invited 20 other in-home providers to come. So it was just a really cool experience. They did it in Spanish. A lot of these providers have never even heard of Birth to 3, much less vision loss. And so it was a really good opportunity for her to reach out into the community and to really work with those families and those providers who are seeing those kids firsthand who really have developmental needs. Sonimar was a parent of ours. Her daughter, Selene, has been in our program since Birth to 3. And a lot of our, just like Amy at Here Wisconsin, we go in and work with the providers in the communities. And so Selene was a part of a different agency and then worked with us for vision. And so she's 5 years old now in school and doing fantastic. But also, I think something that's important when we work with family advocates and people or families who have children with special needs is that they're really working to take care of their child. And so there's a lot of time missed at work. And so with this job and this position that we were able to do funding through this grant, Sonimar was able to have a job and actually work and around her hours and working with her child who was in and out of the hospital kind of through this whole time. So, I mean, it was amazing what she was able to accomplish, and we're really proud of her and her growth as well.
And in addition to our parent advocate, we were able to also go out and provide, where we had a teacher of the visually impaired, go to all of the 3 main providing agencies for Birth to 3 and have a teacher of the visually impaired on each PCAT team to provide teaming and coaching for other therapists. And early intervention for kids with sensory disabilities is one of my main passions in life, and that's what my master's is in. So I got to go and hear all the stories about the great work that the providers are doing, but also share what we can do to enhance the services. I did do a lot of training on our functional vision screening tool, and that is something that I have to thank all of the providers and agencies in Milwaukee County, because I cannot go out and find all of these babies who are visually impaired on my own. But basically, we were able to go out, and I think before this project had started, we had less than 20 kids in Milwaukee County on our vision caseloads. Okay, so think about that. In all of Milwaukee County, there were like 15 to 20 kids on caseload. Guess how many we have now? over 60. So these are kids who have pretty severe, usually blind or visually impaired children. And as Amy from Here, Wisconsin said, sometimes it's hard to even get started and get children to even lift their head up if they don't have anything that is motivating them to do that. That's how most babies, we learn to turn our head even and find our family members from our vision. And so if anything is impacted with that piece, a lot of the other therapies can't happen. And so I just appreciate the help of everybody finding and helping us locate these families, because we couldn't have done it without you. I do have also really good news, and I don't know, Samantha, if I even got to tell you this. I don't know where Samantha went. Oh, she's back there. But the functional vision screening tool for birth to 3 that we created and piloted with some of these funds was piloted in the state with 10 counties this summer. It started here last April because of these funds. And we just heard yesterday that the entire state Department of Health Services is going to use this now as their tool to help identify children in our state birth to 3 program who are blind and visually impaired. So that is the impact that this money in our county and our birth to 3 programs, it's because of this. What we want to share too before we go are some of the parent quotes, and I'll have Tracy share that in a minute. But I just wanted to celebrate that because it's a huge accomplishment. And it has gone through, a lot of people have put a lot of work and effort into this, and I just appreciate everyone in Milwaukee County giving us, and it took this money. We can't do it by ourselves. We're a small nonprofit. And so for us to have something that is going to be statewide, and I think for Milwaukee County, that just shows some of the great work that you guys have been supporting. So thank you so much.
Want to share our thing, or should we just
I just wanted to share a quote from one of our parents, and actually this little guy was again in birth to 3 program. He is now at our preschool program and moving on to school pretty soon. But this is the impact that some of the work and the funds that Milwaukee County has given us that they have on our families. So thanks to Birth to 3 and Vision Forward, I've gained a newfound hope for my son and his growth and development. The care, attentiveness, compassion, and genuine concern we received from our Vision Forward family in regard to my son on his therapeutic and educational journey to betterment is beyond amazing. I'm awe-inspired by the length that they have taken to ensure every parent, including myself, and our children are in good hands, while the results are nothing less than outstanding. And I can definitely state that too for the Milwaukee County Birth to 3 program as well. The caring and compassion of all the people who put their time and effort into this program is amazing, and I just want to thank you on behalf of Vision Forward and of Milwaukee County. Thank you.
So thank you, Tracy, Colleen, for the hard work that you guys do. I know vision and hearing, you guys have made such a big impact in the city of Milwaukee, in the county, and we appreciate you all and your hard work. Now, Birth to 3 recognizes that we can't do the work alone. We have to work in partnership with our organizations, such as many of you out there, and importantly, we need our parents and caregivers to become partners. Birth to 3 has developed the Early Start Bright Future Family Appreciation Award. This is the first time we're doing this. And Birth to 3 would like to thank our dedicated parents and family partners and recognize them for their support as participants in the Early Start Bright Future campaign and the early intervention journey. So Birth to 3 wants to recognize the parents here today. We have a couple here today, and that we want to recognize you for truly, going beyond as participants in the events that we've held, and also in just being part of this campaign with us. So when I speak of you, if you can stand up here alongside with me so we can recognize you, and then I'll give you a couple minutes so that you can speak as well. So Tiffany Williams, we'll have you come up first. I just want to say that we enjoyed seeing you and your son's bright smile and the big hugs during our first FAST class series. You did not miss a beat, and you attended all of those 8 weeks, and you had the FAST class hello memorized so well, and you even taught some of us, okay? You were doing so good. We just want to appreciate you for your dedication and your support for Birth to 3, for being such a great partner with us from start to finish. Let's give her a round of applause. This is for you.
I'd like to thank everybody. I mean, you guys are so, like they said, caring and compassionate. Like, but I'll be honest, when I first started the birth to 3, I actually stopped because he was being seen at the daycare, and one of the person that was coming to see him ended up catching COVID. So I ended up stopping because it was becoming too much with the daycare and they whining. So I just said, forget it. But then when I took him back to the doctor, she was like, "What is he doing with the birth to 3?" And I said, "I stopped." She said, "No, you got to get him back in. You got to get him back in." And I really did. As I look back, I really needed to put him back in. And I appreciate Valdemir. He was his speech. Valdemir is the only one I remember because the other 2 people barely came. One came for a little bit, and then the coordinator, I think her name's Stephanie. I appreciate you all, but Valdemir, my son is something else, and he really gave him his all and helped him through it. The FAST program, it was really fun. Miss Ashley, her over there, I don't remember her name, and then the lead lady, I think her name Karen. It was nice. That was actually a nice program for the parents to come together. It was like one big support group because like everybody needed help with something, and we all, the little family, the adult time, we learned a lot from each situation of each of our kids, what they were going through. So I did perfect attendance. I'm perfect attendance to everything. And I actually wanted to attend the summer one. I didn't care. I just bring my son. He could, enjoy the little time. I mean, the more the barrier. It takes a village. So, but I appreciate all the help that came from Birth to 3, the FAST program. My son is currently in school, 2 schools. He go to MPS and next door. He had to go to MPS because his IEP was like 4 hours. I don't know the definition behind all that, but he had 4 hours of IEP that he needed of service that next door couldn't provide. So he had to go to MPS first and then he go to next door. So, and he is developing, I ain't gonna say progressively, but he is developing. He's way better than he has been before. So I appreciate you all. Thank you.
All right, our next parent is Erica Sturpinghouse. So I am so happy you had the opportunity to spend time with us the second FAST class series. Our FAST team did get better at saying hello, the second round, like in the summertime we did. And I just want to mention to you, Erica, that how much you said to us that you wanted to find a place that you could belong and be yourself. You spoke like at the very end of the FAST class, and your words touched a lot of us because a place where you and your children is what you said that can find friendship with others. So we want to appreciate you for your authentic engagement and for building that community in the Birth to 3 program that you so desire, that we all do. So thank you for being that parent.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay. I'm Erica Durfinghouse. I have 2 children who are in the Birth to 3 programs, twins, Oscar and George. And I think everybody in the FAST family knew my children because I would always be screaming Oscar and George all the time because they'd be running around. And I don't know if a lot of people know my journey to Birth to 3. So I had my children in the height of COVID, April 2020. We lived in Maryland. We were going to settle life there with our 4-year-old at the time. And my husband and I were like, we can't do this. Like, we're in isolation. And he's like, I'm from Milwaukee. Let's just move. So in September of 2020, we just got up and drove cross country and moved with our twins and our 4-year-old and settled here. And we just noticed they weren't developing at the rate that they should be. Having had one child, you kind of know what to expect. And it scared us a little bit, and it would kind of push off to be like, it'll get better, and it never got better. And so our pediatrician, Dr. Promise, hooked us up with Birth to 3, which I'm really thankful for because that got us the services. That started it. And I would say I'm a very proactive parent, if you know me. I'm going to go out there and hustle, and I'm going to find every single resource for my child. So once we're done with birth to three, I was like, okay, how do we get other services here? Because I can't have my kids have a gap. They need to continue growing. I went to the zoo event. I met Karen. I learned about the parenting network. I learned about the Thursdays together, and I was like, I'm going. And my husband is just like, oh my God, do we have to do all of this? And I'm like, yes, we do. We do. And I remember him going to Thursdays together with me, and I'm always just like really anxious to be like, okay, what does he think? Because I'm a forever optimist, and he was like, this is amazing. Like, nobody's looking at us weird because our kids are running around or being crazy, because everybody's kids are in similar situations. And I remember, and I'm trying not to be a crybaby about it, but it was like the first time I felt just, I had some trauma around some other daycares where people treated my children as other, and being where my kids are with other people who have similar issues, it was just so nice being somewhere. And everyone's like, oh, that's just Oscar and George, versus it's a problem. And so I will always be thankful for the Fast family, for Karen, Patrick, Crystal, Emily, Samantha, and I forgot your name. I know it's a Hmong last name, but I remember you. You volunteered your time with us, and it was such a highlight of our summer. I wish we could have had it longer, and it was really nice because now my children are at St. Francis 3 days a week, and so I think the St. Francis actually knows my children now because they were running out of the gym into the facility, so they already know them. So now they're there, like they got so excited, like they would just be like, "Oh, we're going to the gym," and they just loved it. So thank you so much for not only embracing me as a parent, but also embracing my children. And I'm actually told people, I'm like, if you ever want to know about services, I know everything. I'm an expert. I'm a subject matter expert now in all services. So I'm like telling people, like, this is where you go, and I'm giving everybody advice. But I'm just really thankful to have had that. And if anybody tells me about it, I'll continue to push it. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Erica. Those were the parent partners that we want in our program. So we have one more family that we wanted to recognize, but they're not here today. I don't think they're here. Just one last glance. So I do still want to recognize them because the team is also here. So this is Justice that I'm going to recognize. And we wanted to recognize her because she came out to the parent fun day at the park, and she also was nominated by her team. And when I was talking to her on the phone, I spoke with her, and she had shared some wonderful things about her staff. So she had said that, the staff was so wonderful, and they were like angels on earth. And she mentioned that she wouldn't have known what to do without their coaching and instruction. But truly, the pyramid of success for her child, I wanted to say, is that it's her as lead, as her, their first teacher. And we want to recognize her, Justice, and their family for their dedication and motivation to learn new ways to help their child, for putting all the things into practice every single day. So the Birth to 3 team just wants to appreciate and thank all of the parents for being awesome in the program and for participating and for being, impactful to our program, and by sharing like what you're doing. And I just wanted to share with you guys that this is the Parent Appreciation Award, and I just wanted to recap that for you all, that this is our first time, but it may not be our last one. So think about those parents, and we appreciate all of you and your dedication in the program as well. I think that's it for our evening, for our time. But I want to, so this is the end basically. I wanted to just share that, and that thank you for coming out, for hearing us for the last 18 months. There's so many organizations out there. Some of you I've never seen for the first time, right, in person. And like we were mentioning, in person, and we get to see each other's height and size. So thank you guys for coming out. I wanted to thank the Little Village Play Cafe, Betty Bryn Children's Museum, Pelletiero Yayo, Safe Babies, Healthy Families from Easter Seals, 4C for Children, Bayview Community Center, here Wisconsin, Milwaukee Public Library, the the Parenting Network, United Community Center, Vision Forward Association, MCW, CTSI, Next Door Foundation, City of Milwaukee Health Department, Milwaukee Succeeds, Mom's Mental Health Initiative, COA Youth and Family Center, Dr. Francisco Enriquez, Best Baby Zone, Milwaukee, Building Bridges, PNCC, CCC, Agency and Promo Local, Birth to 3 Partnering Agencies, Kenfield Children's Center, Curative Care Network, and St. Francis Children's Center. And lastly, the volunteers who helped at the celebration event at the zoo, Thursdays Together group or at the Friday Fun at the Parks event. We hope to continue this work in the year to come. So stay tuned for the continuation of the Early Start Bright Future campaign. And our first ever, Birth to 3 celebration at the zoo, we did it this year. We want to continue that for next year, and Fun Fridays at the park. So if you're interested in collaborating with us for these events, we certainly welcome you for your partnership. And Birth to 3 recognizes the first 3 years are the most important building blocks of a child's future. So with the help and support of the community, we can make sure that all the children receive equitable early intervention services. So again, thank you for celebrating with the Birth to 3, and we hope that you have a great weekend. And please, if you would like to take a picture with us, we welcome you to, on the other side of this board or wall, we have our little picture stand. So please join us for some pictures and enjoy some more food, please.